If I only talked about what I played from 2020, I'd just be sitting here for like 3 seconds. So instead, I'm bringing back last year's shtick and talk about the titles that impacted me in retrospect. These are the games, what I played, also enjoyed, and recommend, and won't judge you if you don't check them out for 2020. Another year, another indie dev flexing on Sega. After a lukewarm sequel, spin-offs, and several cancelled revivals, Streets of Rage is back with a new look that breathes life into the dead IP with seamless confidence. A tight beat 'em up with killer music and infinite replayability. Old characters play the same with a couple of little new moves at it, while newcomers like Cherry are built for styling, chaining combos effortlessly by bouncing from enemy to enemy. Hell, you can even fucking play as the original sprites for fun until you realize the game really wasn't made for any of this. And yeah, while tracks never reach any of the heights 2 did, there are a couple of gems and remixes done by the original series composers that are straight bangers. Everything looks clean and vibrant, from the background of the stages to all the character and enemy designs, all made with cleanly shaded hand-drawn animations. And while it doesn't really fit any of the grime and edginess of Streets of Rage, you have to admit it looks really fucking good. All thanks to a collaboration with the wonderful artists at Lizard Cube in a studio which previous game looked like this, so be thankful. Go out and buy it. The more you wait, the longer Sega's IPs fucking rot in the gulags. Shocking, I know. After all the wait, the fucking madman finally delivered, and it was everything I'd hope it'd be. A nostalgic return to City 17, with an immersive world with godlike attention to detail in its visuals, sound design, and animations that bring it to life. A perfect blend of horror and action without any of the pacing issues that blemish the series. But most importantly, a marquee title that solidifies the paperweight of a platform. Half-Life Alyx is both a tech and game design marvel, with even more room to grow with constant support from the modding community and other studios willing to explore what can be achieved within the engine's framework. Though it'd be better if they made the fucking SDK public. You promised, Valve. Where is it? So, how about those Sonic games? Early this fall, I went on a little bit of an autism bender, revisiting a couple of Sonic games. Going back to games with more interesting perspectives, guilty pleasures, and horrible fucking games that no longer make me fear death.
None of this is good, Vector. That's why it's called war.
I was still feeling a bit unsatisfied, so I just went off and looked through the fan game community, which at that point was astronomically dabbing on Sonic Team. Wait, wrong game. Give me a second. First thing that surprised me was more of a proof of concept than resembling a full game. Sonic GT is undoubtedly filled with fucking issues, from its several physics bugs, phoned-in narrative resembling a porn game with Kino voice acting, to the worst fucking bosses ever designed. However, you can feel what it does right as soon as you start to move. The sheer sense of fucking elation I felt running down slopes, up walls, and through the air recaptured that, what I haven't felt since I first played Unleashed more than 10 years ago. It then went on to surpass it, as there's no real cap on how fast you can go, so I just spent the rest of my time trying to break the fucking game. Now, this style of gameplay isn't new to any of us that's experimented with 3D Sonic fan games before, but whereas most are just unfinished giant sandboxes to roam around in with a general hire this man vibe, GT offers a lot more of a concrete structure with its levels, with rails, hazards, end goals, and a ranking system to add on top of the already amazing replayability with seemingly infinite routes to take in every stage. Tweak a few mechanics and streamline stages so you don't fly over obstacles, and you have a winning formula for one of the best Sonic games of all time. Case in point, Spark 2. Now I know I'm really late to the fucking party, but that ain't gonna stop me from sucking off this game. Brazilian dev Felipe Daniluz did an amazing job taking the Sonic formula and refining it with his own title. Fast, open-ended levels with lots of loops, and a bigger focus on combat with several weapons, and a parry mechanic familiar to fans of Devil May Cry, making the core gameplay loop resemble that of Sonic Heroes more than anything, but except, you know, good. You feel confident in each jump, with tight controls and an air dash to fall back on. Stages are a blast to both rush through as well as explore, and by the end levels you'll be effortlessly jumping, slashing, and parrying through obstacles. All of this amounting to an amazing platformer that you shouldn't miss out on whether you're a Sonic fan or not.
Now, find a new rival.
Hi, I'm Blooper Rupert, more commonly known as Blue Rhapsody. One of the best games I've played this year is Blasphemous. It began as one of those Kickstarter projects in 2018 with the team behind it being called The Game Kitchen. A beautifully grotesque Metroidvania released in 2019 that takes a lot of inspiration from Dark Souls, taking many elements like UI, world design, and aesthetic while still being able to forge an identity of its own. The art alone is what brought me to this game. Visceral, weird, fucked up Catholic imagery, and gorgeous pixel art. The gameplay is extremely solid, with an emphasis on dodge and parry mechanics, along with the standard Metroidvania tropes. Journeying through the world of Blasphemous will have the player encounter a number of NPCs and enemies that all look like they would come from the cover of a heavy metal album. Speaking about music, the soundtrack's pretty good. Not anything I'd listen to outside of the game, but it works to suit the crushing atmosphere. The music consists of a lot of heavy religious instrumentation that ranges from being eerily somber when exploring to being bombastic during boss fights. In terms of difficulty, Blasphemous in the base game isn't that hard if you're pretty adept to this style of gameplay. Since it's a Metroidvania, most encounters can be initially difficult to brute force past. However, with enough exploring through the world, the player can net items that make encounters much more manageable. Recently, as of August of this year, the game got a free DLC that adds New Game Plus and some gameplay fixes. New Game Plus has the player retain most of their stuff from the base game, along with a new feature called the Penitence System. Essentially, at the start of the game, the player gets 3 choices that give them handicaps and bonuses. Along with that, there are new NPCs and really fucking cool bosses that make the second playthrough very different from the first one. Check it out if you want, it's practically on every platform that matters.
Alright, that's cool.
I still vividly remember the second I found out about Machinarium and being instantly drawn to it like a magnet, falling in love with every single aspect of it. The hyper-detailed art for both characters and backgrounds is nothing short of breathtaking. This, of course, was all years ago when the game first came out, and toddler me ended up dropping it after getting stuck on the 4th puzzle. It was only recently that I revisited it when I finally solved it and progressed towards the city where I finally got to witness this game's scope in full. The somber music and ambient sound design only amplifying the feeling of hollowed warmth this game conveys, with a cliche trying hard to save the girl's story, emphasizing the love shared between these 2 pieces of scrap metal. The brain-teasing puzzles make you get involved with the world as you comb through and interact with every detail it has to offer. Just remember that this is a point-and-click adventure game, so don't expect all the answers to make sense. In what is possibly the only good N64 game, Sin and Punishment is the peak of Treasure's output IMO. Not only is it a smooth, tight, juicy handling game on a fucking N64 pad, but it's also a visually striking game that pushes the system to its limits even if it's copying Ava for almost half of it. Expert work is put into the on-rails camera to make every action scene pure, slick Ludo. I already went in depth about it in a video I made at the start of the year, so go check that out. Now, I'm in no way versed in this genre, like, fucking at all. I guess you can count Ikaruga and, like, maybe Space Harrier, Point is, I have no clue what makes shmups good in the first place, but what I do know is that Thunder Force 4 fucking fucks. Immaculate pixel art, intense action, and my favorite Genesis soundtrack of all time. From the smooth jazz fusion that plays while cruising through space, to the chaotic riffs that play while clinging onto dear life as you dodge and weave through a boss's shootout. The variety of weapons, on-the-fly speed swapping, and levels that can be approached in any order had me hooked for fucking weeks at a time, practicing each stage as much as I could. And even after that, I couldn't even get past the third to last fucking stage. This game will crush your balls, rip them out, and shove them down your throat. But the fast-paced intensity condensed into such a short runtime makes it effortlessly replayable. Oh boy, the fucking weebs are gonna tear me apart for this one. Once again, I am in no way versed in this fucking genre at all. All I know is that most of them are fucking dog shit if they don't include any porn, which coincidentally, Sayano Uda has lots of. Surprisingly though, the story that accompanies it is pretty fucking interesting. An average Joe turned gigaschizo after suffering an accident that warps him to a grotesque mid-zone dimension. The tale is old as time, really. Now, the VN doesn't pull any punches with what it shows, as it slowly builds up with each narrative beat getting more and more fucked up. And although it follows a neat trope of having the monster concealed at all times, relying on your own morbid imagination to envision something grotesque, I think the full frontal child sex and tentacle rape scenes are enough to put people off for a long while. Like, ooh boy. Oddly enough, what I really found memorable more than anything was the early 3D render look of all the backgrounds, accompanied with the amazingly eerie soundtrack that shifts from moody and chaotic to genuinely emotional, painting these walls of text in a unique and, dare I say, otherworldly vibe.
I fucked the anime lolly and now I'm going crazy. Help me, nigger man.
So, yeah, that's it. This is the point where I start rambling and people find out that I sound like a total schizophrenic when I talk to myself. The wonderful and sexy guest voice you heard was the great and mighty Blue Rhapsody. Small YouTuber, friend of the channel. He does mainly Megaten content, so you should check him out as soon as possible. I heard he's gonna release a Shin Megami Tensei 4 review tomorrow. He told me that. So if it doesn't come out tomorrow, he's a lying fucking cunt. Originally I was gonna do this really long, ungrateful rant, but I kind of just want to thank every one of you that found out about the channel this year or have stuck around even before then. I've been talking to more of you guys this year, and it's genuinely made me appreciate every single one of you guys. This year I'm not gonna make the same mistake and promise more upload. Like, fucking hell, I might not even upload this year. Who knows? Regardless, I want to wish every single one of you guys a happy belated New Year's, and I hope the next year treats you better than any other. So, take care.